Talking about milk and cashews, Quincy?
Milk and cashews. I just happen to like them. That's just a tasty snack. Okay, all over the world. Pickles. No.
So you think Captain Caveman?
He would eat the carpet. I'm gonna have to call it the name and draw. Soap on a rope? No, sir. I never heard of it. Like, Well, actually, maybe I've seen soap on a rope. Ridiculous. Maybe old school, but name would not Bill Cosby's name. People have a different desire.
Captain App.
And on like if the burger's fried or boiled. How would you know this? Oh, the yucky cookies? Sometimes you can mix them with Cheez-Its.
Where did that come from?
Punch the clown. Holy Toledo, my man.
You're not gonna start a world war here.
But
that's what I don't want to do. That's one of those things. I know. I never really even gave that a thought.
Been hitting the milk too hard, I think.
All right. Oh, sure. Okay. Well, again.
Without further ado, Quincy Briscoe!
You can keep your wine and cheese. They give me the blues. You want to help? Hand me the milk and cashews.
I never said that I was being used. I'm doing right with my milk and cashews.
here he is, the host with the most, the man who loves milk, Quincy Briscoe.
And how are we doing tonight, everyone?
Okay.
We're doing
good.
We're doing good, Quincy.
You've been talking to the Cookie Monster, I see.
Yes, we have. Now we're going to go around the horn here, Quincy. We have a couple people on the show, as always, and we have a guest on the show as well. So I'm going to go down right now. Obviously, I am TC Rustani. I am the moderator of this wonderful podcast.
And how you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much.
Captain of the Ship of Fools.
Next, you got that right. Next to you is Quincy, is the one and only, the greatest celebrity stalker of all time, South Boston Jeff.
Hey, what's happening? I'm here, but yet I'm not here. So
what do you mean you're here, but you're not here?
Only I know for sure.
He only knows that.
That's true. I'm just having fun, like anyone else.
Does he know?
Okay, the Hall of Famer Marky D is here.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you all doing tonight?
Fantastic. And Mikey Harvard.
Good evening.
And at the end of the podcast table, making himself a Chinese buffet down there, is our longtime close personal associate, the one and the only, the Puppet. How's it going, Puppet?
Great.
Okay, now we don't hear from the Puppet throughout the show. He's stuffing his gut down there with what are you shoving in there?
Looks
so
like,
for the world, out there?
about 8-year-old.
A poo-poo platter. Just don't go poo-poo on our platter, okay?
8-day-year-old Chinese food.
All right, we'll get ready to answer some questions.
Talk into the microphone. That's why it's invented.
Me love you long time.
Okay, that's great. That's fantastic. It's not even Valentine's Day. Okay, Quincy, what the hell's on your mind this week?
Well, I'm proud of the successful town day I had in my town this week. It's all for the kids.
Oh, yeah. You were a dunk tank, weren't you?
That's correct. I'm very proud of my success. It's all for the kids.
Your success.
It's all for the kids. We sing, dance, get dunked into a dunk tank.
Humble man.
And it's all for all the kids.
How many times did you get dunked?
About 20 times as far as I can count.
Oh, wow. So you got a free shower then?
That's right.
Yeah.
And
bath.
What the thing
Really?
I loved about this particular town day, that it's all for the kids, like babies and toddlers and kids won prizes because of our participation.
What do they win if they dunk you?
What was that?
What do they win when they dunk you?
Well, the thing that matched about me, just like it helped me win my motorcycle, kids won bicycle helmets, especially one who didn't have a helmet. And
did you have a helmet?
That's right. Well, the rule is anyone that wears bicycles, just like the adults who drive motorcycles, put their helmet on, kids, says Quincy Briscoe. And now they have a bicycle rack. Park your bicycles at the rack there, kids, says Quincy Briscoe. And all the bikers, put your helmets on. Drive your bicycles carefully. Put mirrors on your bicycles. Have your mechanics check out your bicycles and learn how to ride a bicycle carefully.
I don't know anybody that brings a bike to a mechanic other than a motorcycle.
Well, believe it or not, they do have bicycles for kids.
Really? They do?
Believe it or
You
not.
used to bring your bicycle to a mechanic.
I did?
Yes, you did.
I can't mention who,
I
but
drove you up there one time. We picked your bike. You had a new tire put on. And you
someone
had
in Stoneham.
a chain fixed.
Okay,
and
I
you
got
had-
that at a bike shop, not a mechanic shop.
Well, it's still...
Anybody that fixes things is considered mechanically.
It's a bicycle mechanic.
What about a plumber?
We're known as
He's a plumber,
that's
but he's a
different.
plumber mechanic.
Why is that different?
Because that's waste and water flow. That's a different thing. I'm talking about like gears and wheels and chains and.
Sounds like some filthy sex movie you're talking
I know.
about.
It's. I'm getting all
Well,
turned
believe it or
on.
not,
by
I bet you
just
some
talking
plumbing
about it.
products or
Believe it or
electrical,
not.
if it's chain driven,
You know what?
shaft driven.
You know what, Quincy? I forgot. We actually have a bike mechanic on our panel tonight down at the end of the table here. None other than the puppet who's eating
don't know
a
if I'd
crab
go that far.
a crab rangoon right now. Now, what about your
Liberal
expertise
definition.
down there, puppet? What would you have to say about all these bike chain problems?
Puppet, you're on.
Wake him up.
Come on now, Puppet.
So basically, what I would do is chain up the chain, tighten it up, take out a couple links, whatnot, see if it works.
So that'd be your expertise advice down there.
Take out some links.
Precisely.
Take out some links. Like
Put it on the chain.
well, there are some missing links on this table, that's for sure. So, okay.
Time to vote off the weakest link.
I'll agree with that one.
It's a comedy. It's a game show. The weakest link with George Gray and remember that?
Okay, you know how old that show is? That's going about 15 years ago.
I'm just
now.
having a little fun with it.
Yeah, well.
It's a game show where you win money. But remember that? It's a game show.
I do.
Most game shows you win money, or wouldn't be you wouldn't be a contestant.
Yeah, but
Either that or you win a year's supply of bowling wax or something.
Turtle
like that.
wax?
Turtle wax, yeah.
Oh, that you know what that reminds you of is Weird Al Yankovic, which we'll get into later on or another time.
Well, that's another
Yeah,
time.
much
sometime.
later.
Okay, but getting back to this now, that's very good for start. And the thing is, they won all kinds of prizes, like everything that the whole thing, like Town Day or Victorian Day and every other town you go to, it's all for the kids. You play the games and let the kids win the prizes because it's to help out the newer generation. That's really what we're all about. That's what TV, radio's, what we try to do.
Well, on that note, we have some questions.
Here we
Okay,
go.
let's
that
have
I think
them.
we need to dive into, and it's an interesting transition. We're going to go from Alec. He's a big fan of Quincy Briscoe from Ontario, Canada.
Okay?
And his question to you, Mr. Briscoe, is what is your favorite game show of all time?
It's hard to tell.
You just
there's a
opened
lot of
Pandora's box, I think.
Well, we're going to go around the panel, too, but Mr. Briscoe, what do you think?
the newer game shows and the older game shows. I'll have to say it all started with me with Let's Make a Deal, the Newlywed Game.
Well,
And
only one. You can only pick one.
You can pick one.
it's hard for me to say, ladies
Well,
and
just
gentlemen.
pick one.
What's
I
with
mean, how
you? You
hot is
never make
this?
a
Just
decision.
pick one. What's your favorite one?
I had to think that when I would come and then come back to you
All right,
to
we'll
try
come
to
back-
answer
we'll
the
come back
question.
to you for that one.
But
All right.
yeah, you can tell where I came from.
Okay, let's go to South Boston Jeff.
Okay,
Your favorite
let's
game
start with
show.
you now, friend. Go ahead.
Oh well, I would have to say the all-time favorite is well, you'd think it was The Price is Right, but it's not. I enjoyed a little one called Press Your Luck, and
No whammies, no whammies. Stop.
Yeah, there was the wheel that went around, and you can win big bucks and everything.
Did you ever see the game show documentary on Pressure Luck about the guy who memorized?
Yes, the guy. There was some guy. He had a little autism to him, and he figured out the pattern of the.
And he won $100 and something thousand one day on the game show. And what he figured out was he was nuts. He was crazy. They did a whole documentary on him. This is when VCRs were in their infancy, and he had a VCR, and he would tape like 6 months of Pressure Luck, and he would watch every game, and he realized the pattern, and he actually took paper and traced it on his TV screen, and he memorized the patterns. There was like 5 patterns at the time, and he memorized all of them. And he would just sit there. If you watched it on YouTube, you can watch the guy looking at it with his eyes, ready, and stop. And he whammied out once just to throw people off, so they wouldn't think that he was onto him. And he was the contestant. He won $100 and something thousand, and then they realized he was a complete lunatic. But they had to give him the money. And then there's this whole backstory of how he was cheating on his wife,
Wow.
and he got murdered.
The only other thing I remember like that was like, what was it, the $64,000?
Well, they gave you the answer on that one. That was rigged.
That was rigged.
This guy actually just watched the patterns and memorized them.
Oh, okay.
It's called doing your homework.
And after that, they put in a computer system where there was like 100 different patterns, so no one could ever memorize them. But that was, I love Pressure Luck.
Yeah, but it didn't last too long after that incident. I think the show kind of whammied out right after that incident happened.
He died too. The game show. He was in a plane accident not too long ago.
What was his name?
Peter Tamarkin.
Peter Tamarkin. Yeah, he was.
How do you remember that?
Because I still watch it.
Oh, Jesus.
Peter Tamarkin. Puppet, you haven't been on this planet that long. So what is your favorite television game show of all time?
He's thinking it over.
All right, we're gonna let him think because we're gonna be here all night. So let's just go back to Marky D. We'll come back to the puppet.
You know, I'm trying to remember the name of the show, but it was the show that had Groucho Marx as the host.
You bet your life.
No.
Yes, it is. Groucho Marx. You bet your life.
Was it You Bet Your Life with the duck? If they said the
Yes,
magic word, the duck would come down.
That's right.
Knowledge.
That's
Really?
right. He'd
You
ask
Bet Your Life.
quiz.
I thought that show was hilarious, and they won money. They had like John Glenn on there, and they had before he was an astronaut.
you mean like Major Mud?
No,
I don't know what Major Mud.
Mud.
What? I forgot what Major Mud was all about. But
Major Mud
a
was
kid show.
The kid show.
oh, okay.
He was like Mr. Rogers and
I
stuff.
don't remember him
Not
being
quite.
an astronaut either.
Not quite a Buzz Aldrin.
Not quite the level of Mr. Rogers.
Okay, I never watched it obviously when it was first on, but my grandfather used to watch it. And he goes, "Wait for the duck, wait for the duck." When they ask like the secret word, the duck will fall.
The duck
down.
would come down, and they'd win like $100
right,
or something like
right.
that.
I do remember that show.
But he was funny. He used to be really funny. With
Also
the,
for the babies,
with the
toddlers?
contestants. No, not this one.
Okay, Quincy, not everything's for kids, you pedophile.
Well,
Don't say that.
game shows. You don't think? Well, some of it.
No, they're
No,
not.
none of them. They're all about winning money.
You have to be over 18 to be on a game show, Quincy.
All right. Okay.
And it's all about winning money.
You
all
could
prizes,
give, you could
one or
give the
other.
money to your children after you win it, but it's not all about the kids,
And
Quincy.
you can have a sibling on Family Feud.
There you go. Right.
Okay. We'll talk more about that later.
Okay.
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 Move on.
I would go with the one for me that sort of started all would be what is Jeopardy?
Jeopardy.
Jeopardy is a show with Alex Trebek,
Yeah.
And,
who was on there. Wasn't Don Pardo before him, or was he the announcer?
No, I thought it was always.
Oh, I think
No.
Trebek might have been number
Jeopardy's
2.
been around since the 60s.
Jeopardy. You
But I
bet
don't
your
remember
beat
anybody
the
else.
clock.
Ale-
Concentration.
Alex Trebek didn't start until 84.
Beat the clock. Beat the clock. That was. I'm trying to remember who. Gary Moore or somebody was the host on that one. That's another real. The old game shows were really.
Those are the
I think
classics that we grew
They were
up with.
They were funny too. Some of them, like Beat the Clock. Yeah,
Who are some of your favorite old-time game show hosts?
Well, I mean, people that later became, more like stars. Like Gary Moore was on about 3 different shows, 3 different game shows. He's on To Tell the Truth. He was on Beat the Clock, and then he had his own show.
What about Alan Ludden,
Alan Ludden, yeah, Password.
who was married to Betty White?
Betty White. She was on some show recently. She's like 96 years
Yes, she
old.
is.
And she still went out and cracked jokes.
Who was the other guy? Oh, Bill Cullen.
Bill Cullen. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was on. He was on the Price. He was on the original Price.
He was
Right.
on. He was on Hot Potato when I was a kid.
Yeah, and he was a panelist. What was he a panelist on?
I don't
Oh,
know.
The Price is Right.
Okay.
The Price is Right. He was a panelist.
And Wink Martindale.
Oh, what was he on?
Tic Tac Toe.
Tic Tac Toe.
Right, he's still
There's
kicking
been
that
so
guy.
many different game shows.
All right, puppet.
Papa, what's your game show over there before I answer mine? And Quincy has to go back to him too.
Jeopardy, I remember.
You remember Jeopardy. How do you remember
You gotta
Jeopardy?
Speak into the mic so they can hear it.
Probably because it was on a half hour ago.
Yeah, right.
All right, either one funny.
Jeopardy is still on Channel 7 at 7:30.
It's a classic.
All right, so the puppet's favorite game show was Jeopardy.
Because that's usually what he's in.
Double jump.
The answer is
his whole life is in
the
jeopardy.
question: who is always in trouble? Who is the puppet? Bingo. All right, Quincy. Before I answer mine, can we get your answer?
Bingo's another one I like.
A game show had to be with one that something like what I was involved with now.
Nope.
I guess
You
I
have
don't
one
think
so.
one choice, Quincy.
Pick
Yes,
a
and
game
keep
is
in
No
mind-
such game as confusion.
Alec wants to know.
And keep
All
in
right,
mind
then,
that Burt Reynolds had a game show.
how about one that has to do with as far as I can figure out, Double Dare? Because if you don't
All right.
That is a game
Because,
show. That is a game
singing,
show.
dancing, dunking, it'd have to be Mark Summers' Double Dare.
Not the
And-
answer that I was thinking that you were going to
no,
get.
you
What were
threw
you-
us
what
off
were
with
you
that
thinking
one,
about?
and
I
and
would have
it's
probably
mostly
thought,
kids
like
involved.
Wheel of Fortune or something.
Quincy, on your mark.
Get set. Go!
Well,
Because I'm
Double
a guy
Dare.
that loves to sing, dance, do nice things, have fun,
Great.
get messy.
Yeah, go up a slide with pudding on it and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That
Well,
reminds me.
Fun
That
thing.
reminds me. Was
Swim through it,
was
jump through
Truth
a
or
tank of milk.
Consequences a game show?
I believe it was.
Yes, it was.
They
Bob
used to-
Barker
they
was
used to
on
win-
there.
Yeah, they used to win
How
prizes.
old are you?
Really?
97.
Yeah.
They did win prizes for doing stupid things.
There could be. That was long before my time. My
Yeah.
favorite game show, and to this day.
And it was from the show was broadcast in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico.
Well, that's where Cactus Jack is from. Bang, bang.
Is it really?
Mine is definitely, without question, the match game.
Really?
Match game?
Match game from 73 to 77 with Gene Rayburn, Brett Summers, Charles Nelson Riley. Love that game. I could watch that. It's still on. When I was had a little sabbatical at the beginning of the year, I sat and watched that game show 4 or 5 times a day. I never got tired of it.
I always thought your favorite would be something like Hollywood Squares.
Nah, I never liked that show. I
No?
mean, maybe the old one when it had Paul Lynn in the center square
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But that show was scripted. I mean,
Well,
I always
yeah, a
got
lot
Paul
of it was.
Lynn and John Nelson Riley confused.
Yeah.
well, they both play for the other team. So
Really?
but I
Switches.
love the match game. I love it. It was my
Gene
favorite.
Rayburn.
Do you remember? Can you name a famous actress who was actually a contestant on the match game in the late
There were
'70s?
there were a lot of famous
Well,
people.
this one became a household name.
Oh, I don't know. Probably Betty White was probably.
No,
another
she
one.
was a contestant. She wasn't a contestant. She was a panelist. I'm talking about contestant.
Oh, a contestant.
Yeah. Betty White was on the match game every other day.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
Kirstie Alley,
Really?
before she was anything, you can still
Was
watch
just
it.
a
Was a
contestant.
contestant from Kansas, Missouri, or Kansas, wherever the other
Kansas
Kansas.
City, Kansas.
Let's bring her out, Kirstie Alley, and this is right before she got the role in Star Trek
By the way,
2.
it's Kirsty, not Christy.
What I said that Kirstie Alley,
Kirstie Alley. yeah.
right?
Who spelled that wrong?
Well, obviously not.
Is it crispy, Alex? Or
Crispy Alex.
Crispy
I don't know.
Alex.
That's what happens
sounds
when
like a cereal. Crispy.
Kirstie Alley, Crispy Alex. Yeah, kind of so. Okay,
That's her brother.
I do have another question, so we can move on from the game
we do
show.
a question from Arnie in Vienna, Austria. And his question to you, Mr. Briscoe, is how do you work out?
A couple of different ways. I go to gyms. I take walks down the streets, up the streets, walk around the lake. Those are the facts. There's like 2 or 3 different ways. You can, again, you simply go to your favorite gym, go on your favorite let-the-bell, treadmill.
A what?
Anybody that's
I'll let the bell.
Anybody that's ever seen you dance.
Did you say?
That's a
Did you say
Yes.
electric bill?
A let-the-bell, or whatever they call that.
Elliptical?
You mean
Elliptical,
elliptical?
okay. Sing, dancing. That's
That's a new
very good.
machine. They
What
plug
is it
you
called?
in.
Singing and dancing is a very good way to lose weight.
What's the
Yeah,
machine?
aerobics.
In the gym, they call it a let-the-bell or a let.
What do
That's
you
a
mean,
very
those,
advanced
rotating
version.
belt thing. That
I've never
belt
been on
that-
that one.
I've been on the let-the-bell. I've been on the treadmill. I've been on. There's many different. The rowing machine. Just watch The Biggest Loser and say your prayers to Jillian, old school Jillian Michaels.
You
She's
rub
up-
one out to Jillian, don't you?
Well, basically that's how it all started.
That's
like,
how it started.
That is how it started.
You know that Jillian is a switch hitter, right?
Right.
The Biggest Loser
When
is
did that
designed
ever
for those
stop
who
him?
really can't do it alone, and they will take you under your wing and help you lose the weight you need to lose,
Well, it's,
and you'll
One
look
way
and
or
feel a
another.
whole lot better.
There you go.
Oh.
All right, South Boston Jeff, how do you work out?
Oh, well, I basically do push-ups when I have the time, and if I'm getting too chubby, I'll do a few sit-ups here and there. But when I'm at work, I do like working for the city. I do a lot of walking, and I change a lot of trash barrels, and I do a lot of curling. So I work my arms and everything. So I get my workout in. I mean. Not like yeah, I don't like I really should yeah, if I could get in more sit-ups, but yeah, I get a workout in at work.
all right,
That's very
Puppet.
good.
What's your as you stuff your face with egg rolls?
How do you work out?
By going all over the place. I used to do a lot of running back in the day.
From what, cops?
Yeah, especially the cops.
Back in the day,
Back in the day. You're like 24. So what was this, when you were like 5?
15.
15? Okay. Well, 15 forever, I guess. So that's his. He's a cardiovascular running
a
machine
little
down
generous 15 for everybody.
there. All right, now we're going to the Hall
running
of
man.
Famer, the oldest man on the panel down here, the Methuselah.
Pretty good, too.
My biggest workout is just getting out of bed in the morning. I used to go to the
What,
gym.
to jump in your cab?
But ever in the last, probably the last 3 or 4 months, just that's gone down the toilet, so to speak. But I used to do the work. I used to do the aerobic thing. I'd do the treadmill, and then I'd do in the Nautilus, work up a sweat, and then go home and eat a pizza. No,
Hey, you're kind of like John.
John. I follow John. I had the John method.
You're the John routine.
The John Trump. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, that's a guy we know who did a health video.
Oh,
Yeah.
how would you go?
I run. I try to run at least every other day, and sometimes I go swimming and hit the gym on the elliptical or the.
Electric bill.
Isn't the judo a workout?
Yes, it is. It is quite a workout, and I try to stay active as much as possible. But like Jeff, I'm always pretty busy, so you try to get in when you can. And what about you, TC?
Well, I used to go to the gym before I had my medical setback, and I used to do the treadmill and the elliptical and swimming and whatnot. And then now it's basically I'm on the treadmill and the 24-ounce curls of spring water. And
Isn't that Quincy doing a workout on the television over there?
it is. It's him doing an aerobic dance in black and white.
Really?
Looks good. It's just mostly cardio at this moment right now. I'm going to ease my way back. In fact, Quincy, you put air in my bike tires last week.
And how's the bicycle run now?
Fantastic.
Well, I'm glad I could help you.
Great.
Very important. You check your tire pressure, lubricate your chain.
Exactly.
Mirrors on your
Well,
bike.
the engine's been rebuilt, so
So
it
yeah,
runs better now.
Well, not much, but
Well, it's called preventive maintenance on your bike, or we'll talk more about that later.
Yeah, next
We'll
week.
make another show for that.
One final question for the evening, and
Okay.
this comes from Mitt in Utah, and his question to you,
Is he going to run for
Mr.
president again?
Briscoe, is I don't know who that's Mitt, no last name.
or he's going to catch a ball with his hand.
Yeah.
Mitt wants to know is Mr. Briscoe, what is the great beyond?
The Great Beyond. Is it a cartoon character? Or is it a, first of all, like
Some people think so.
the Great Beyond,
What does it mean to you?
above and beyond, the Great Beyond. I would suppose the Great Beyond, above and beyond. Maybe it's a new saying for above and beyond. Instead of above and beyond, the Great Beyond.
So if you were to go to the great beyond, is that a good
Where
thing
would,
or
that,
a
where
bad
would the
thing?
great beyond be?
The Great Beyond, I suppose it's everywhere. If it's trying to achieve what you're looking for in life itself, the Great Beyond, I'm going to have to say, is all around you, with all the good people. Instead of the above and beyond, the Great Beyond, good things. You surround yourself with good people. I suppose the Great Beyond, to whatever it is you're looking for. I'll have to say, it sounds to me like in life itself, you're trying to achieve your basics from what you call the Great Beyond. And to me, where did it come up with the name The Great Beyond? That this individual just
I'm
says.
surprised that you
Good ass
really.
Mitt.
I thought
Yeah.
with your religious background that you would.
The Great Beyond.
would
And to
have
me,
a-
it sounds like instead of above and beyond, the Great Beyond, the great people. Well, the Great Beyond. That's a good question. I'll have to say, surrounding you with good people, the great people with us and beyond. Think about that.
There you
Great
go.
and beyond.
That makes sense.
You know, in other words, like magnificent, super. You know, and all the things.
Oh,
Think
okay.
about that.
Let's get Jeff's take
Head
on
and
the
shoulder
great-
above the crowd. All the good things.
No, that's shampoo.
Not shampoo. no.
Well, the question is, what is my take on the great beyond?
What is the great beyond?
What is your take on the great? Yeah. What
All
is
right.
Your, what is it to you?
You'd need you need a rocket ship to find that out. I mean, I'd say
Beam me up,
it's
Scotty.
searching further than what has been recorded, and outside of our galaxy and everything. So what's outside what we already know about the galaxy? We're trying to learn beyond that. That would be the great beyond, or just take a lot of hallucinogenic drugs.
There you go.
I'm curious on this one. Puppet, what is the great beyond?
To me, the Great Beyond is a place where you go up and people that have either died or have been missing or whatnot have shown up, visions or whatnot.
What is this? The ending of Close Encounters?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you're definitely
He plays with his potatoes.
you've been to the great beyond. Mark, I want to hear this.
Well, no, I mean
philosophical answer.
It was kind of what I was expecting out of Mr. Briscoe, because to me, I always thought that the great beyond was the place you go in your afterlife. The great
That's
beyond.
called heaven. It's called.
There's many names for it. There's many names for it. I mean,
Valhalla.
every religion has its own take on it. But I mean, they could all be basically narrowed down to the great beyond.
It's called the Streets
when
of
you
Gold,
leave
the
this
Great
life,
Beyond.
When you leave this life,
It's called the Streets of Gold, the Great Beyond.
Yeah.
But you think like, you have to take it in life itself. So that's called the Streets of Gold. It's called Heaven, the Great
Right.
Beyond. There's
But
many
there used
different
to
names
be
to call it.
Wasn't there a TV show something where it was something in it was like
Paradise.
That was
like
my
It was
answer.
like a space show.
I don't know, Mark.
Something about the beyond.
This would be my answer.
The Great Beyond by REM.
Oh, there you go.
Cashews.
There you go.
That's my answer, the great beyond. What do you think, TC?
That's what they play when you get there.
For me, The Great Beyond, other than the song from one of the fantastic movies, Man on the Moon, I would have to say The Great Beyond is,
It's like a metaphysical.
well, it's beyond. So it's beyond whatever. It's beyond great, right?
You don't
Yeah.
I sound like
Words
Quincy
don't
now.
It would
even
be the wonderful beyond.
begin to describe the
The
great and
fantastic
beyond.
I guess The Great Beyond would be
It sounds like you're talking about heaven.
infinity.
Words
Well, I
don't
mean,
even
that's what I'm
begin to
saying. It all
describe
kind of narrows
what we
down
have coming.
to, almost your theoretical or theological view on what the great beyond is. It's somewhere where you go when you're.
It's like that song by the Eagles. Somewhere out on that
Hotel,
horizon.
Or it's
Hotel
Captain-
California.
No,
Or it's Captain Kirk's job, you know.
It's not Hotel California.
That sounds like the great beyond.
More like Captain Kirk's job, going where no one has gone before.
But
yeah.
ask me this: why does God need a starship?
Really?
He travels all over this place, and no matter where you go,
In a
around
starship?
the travel. It's called the Great Beyond.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't matter where you come from.
Here's an
Fascinating.
even better question, Quincy. What about the Great Space Coaster?
Okay, that's another good old classic TV show, The Great Space Coaster.
Can you sing the song? Can you sing us out with the Great Space
Time
Coaster?
to go to the Great Space Coaster. Come and go. I don't know the whole thing, but
I know someone who probably does. Jeff, why don't you sing it?
It's the Great Space Coaster. Get
Get
on board
on the
Space
Great Space Coaster, and we'll explore a comet ride of fantasy to a place where dreams fly fast and free. With new friends and new things to see, we'll spin you through the galaxy on the Great Space Coaster. Oh, on the Great Space Coaster, we'll explore.
off we go. Well, the Great Space
The
Coaster.
big finale.
Come and go. Look inside.
I don't think those are the words of the song.
Well, no, yeah, it doesn't. The Great Space Coaster, but above and beyond is like our friend will take us above and beyond. Like no matter who you are,
It
what
is.
you
If
are,
you're beyond-
wherever you come from, he will help you find what you're trying to achieve.
There you
Because
go.
heaven is above and beyond, the great beyond. But you think like him, he will take you above and beyond, the great beyond.
And
Baxter will take you.
That's
no,
right.
I'm talking about Christ. He'll take you.
Oh, Baxter was the guy who, the clown who drove the Great Space Coaster.
With the rainbow sweater.
Well, heaven is rainbows.
Heaven is rainbows.
Yes, it is.
What about Skittles? Would that be heaven?
Okay, for the little kid who loves Skittles, yes, it is.
Back to the kids again.
Here we go.
Yes. Well, okay.
Quincy, do you think Gary Gnu knows about this?
I'm sure he does. In your opinion, what do you think?
Gary Gnu, the Gnu who hosted the Gary Gnu news show? Because what, Jeff?
Because no gnu's is good gnu's, like Gary Gnu.
No news is great good news. Okay, I
No
vaguely
gnu's
remember
is
that
good
one.
gnu's.
Say goodnight.
Okay, is it that time already?
It's
Oh,
that
it's
time.
well beyond
Oh.
that one.
Well, ladies and gentlemen,
Reading the
it's
old
been a
clock on
very
the wall.
very good episode of our Milk and Cashews. And I want to thank all of you for watching radio with us on Milk and Cashews. And we hope to have you on our show again very, very soon. Thank you. Drive carefully. And we'll hope to see you again soon. You can keep your bag of chips. I'm not amused. I'm riding shotgun with Milk and Cashews.